Lebih 20 tahun kerja sebagai kontraktor. Kerja kontraktor. Enggak. Gaji met. Anak rumah pajai. Kau sudah kini ya dan
nuestros antepasados también estuvieron acá y que fue un lugar muy sagrado para ellos. Y ocupar esta tierra es como darles a paz que por generación nunca se le ha dado.
The reason that I decided to apply for this project because the concept is Mekong 2030, which is something that's happening in the future. So that's first how in the next 10 years going to look like, how people going to look like, and the environmental issues that we talk about will be like. So that's challenging for me.
I don't believe any of this devil crap or this religious hocus pocus that's going on.
It may not be what you think.
You came to the Philippines to investigate a human trafficking report. Children are missing, body parts were found.
Maraming na rin ako naririnig. People come, but they don't leave. They became like a culto.
We're investigating alleged human trafficking cases.
You're here to stop the devil. There are many of them all over the world who believe in the devil's power.
So, Johan, right? You can call me Joe.
Why are you applying for this job?
My wife and I, Khadija, she just got pregnant. So what's no filter photography? It was a photography business I started up a while back.
So why are you here?
It didn't work out.
Ao nei to mo we koe longa tau tupe. Si pore aga ke whakaonga. Whano si liu mai ro. Whano si liu mai.
Moses said, when I go to school, I won't have any friends.
You know what? Moses is a bloody kakamora.
No, but what I will do is teach you how to use your own beautiful voice.
Vi, you could do amazing things for your people, but you need to cut out all these distractions.
I know what I'm capable of, but you just won't listen to me.
So this is what she learned at that Flash University. How to cause trouble. You have these thoughts.
These thoughts, they're my family, my village has sacrificed so much for me to be here. And I'm not going to waste it. I'll not allow you to take any more from us. I'm tired of molding myself to become who you want me to be. My name is Malaysian. Malaysian lona luti pulusi.
Jim? Is everything all right?
Why?
It's just that the last 2 months' bills haven't been paid.
I lost my job.
When?
3 months ago now.
Jim, they will take your home if you don't pay.
Is everything else all right? What did you do?
Why do you ask?
You seem different.
Difference?
Drained. Down. Is there something you're not telling me? If there's anything at all, you should speak to someone. It'll help. We're not meant to walk this path alone.
Everything's fine.
Hi everyone, welcome to the KKIFF webinar. I'm the host for tonight. I'm Yao, or normally people will call me Chong Li or Yao. So I would like to introduce to you all the great ensemble of panelists. I think I would like to introduce the first lady, since most of the people will say ladies first. So I would like to introduce you the first ladies in the house, Amanda. Okay, so let's us see Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Hi, Amanda. Welcome on board. Okay, for your information, Amanda is actually an awards-winning short films director, and she has been directed quite a lot of awards-winning short films that went to Venice, Locarno, and she loved to explore female body subjects and also female identities within the context of Southeast Asia. Some of her well-known films such as Lagi Senang Jaga Sekandang Lembu, Vinegar Bath, and now she's developing her first debut feature-length film, Tiger Stripes.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. So may I have the second ladies in the house, Putri? Hi, Putri. Oh, we are waiting for Putri. Okay, so Putri. Hi, Putri. Putri, for your information, is a Sabahan filmmaker. She has been making a lot of films highlighting the marginalized voices on undocumented kids in Sabah through creative documentaries such as Dream to Fly, Aku Mau Sekolah, and Di Sini Aku. I believe she is now working on her next project, and she also made a lot of commercials by herself and her teams. Hi, Putri.
Hi, yes, thank you for having me here.
Yes, it's our honor to have you on board. Okay, for as we know, Putri has been stuck in Kuala Lumpur for quite some time because she couldn't go home due to MCO.
But I'm going back next week, so I'm very excited.
Yes, going back to Sabah. Do you miss home? I believe you are.
And hopefully I'm not gonna stuck there because of the MCO also.
Oh yeah. I hope you can get home safely. Okay, next in the house we have Dato Kamil. Wow, the oldest gentleman in the house. Hi, Dato Kamil.
Hello. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Putri. Hi, Chongli.
Hello.
The oldest, I thought the youngest. But,
sorry.
At heart.
The youngest.
Yeah.
Lucky that you are not paying my salary.
Oh yeah, sure. Anyway, it's great. Yeah, it's great to be on the show and in the company of young, old friends.
Yes, and you make us younger together. Anyway, don't worry. Yeah, for the audience information, Dato Kamil is well-known for his contribution to Malaysian film and animation industry, and formerly engaged to MDAC and FINAS. And now I think he's working very hard on another platform which will be launched soon. Maybe you can say something about that?
We have launched it last Friday. And one of the things that we're trying to do right now is to offer that platform to guess who? The independent filmmakers.
Wow.
Because other than just the cinema, because OTT now is getting a bit of a push. So we're just an additional platform to consider. But I'll do the plug later. But I did insist on a specific channel just to take care of independent films made locally. So basically, if everybody else refuse to distribute or exhibit, we'll be there. We'll be there.
Wow. We're gonna love you and your platform.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I believe Mubi will be your competitor soon.
Well, yes, over time. But our whole idea is not to compete, but actually is to give the local independent filmmakers an opportunity to have their works being shown to the world at large.
Yeah, providing a healthy ecosystem.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, we are happy to have you on board.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the star of the day or tonight. So we have Kai, the director of KICKFLIP. Welcome, Kai.
What's up? Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Yes, we are fine. We're very happy to have you on board. And
thank you.
Yes, for your information, Kai is well known as the pioneer, one of the pioneer for independent digital film industry in Malaysia. And he made his debut feature-length film, Ciplak, with only 10,000 ringgit. And most of the budget, 8,500, was actually spent on camera. So that was his first feature-length film. And now, I believe you have already watched Ciplak on KKIFF CINEBALU online. So
What you mean KICKFLIP?
Yes, KICKFLIP, yes. So we wish you had already watched that film, and we can talk about that. We surely will talk about that film soon. Apart from directing and also writing for film, he also becoming DOP for like Gavin Yau's debut feature-length film, and also he involved in theater as actor. So I believe you also saw Kai acting in his own film, KICKFLIP. Okay, I hope I have done what I need to talk about you.
Yep, sounds about right.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Thank you, Kai. So last but not least, we have Samad. Samad in the house. Hi, Samad.
Oh, hey, hi everyone. I'm Samad. I finally solved my technical issue in the last minute. Please, guys, please ask me a lot of questions later. I would love to interact more instead of just me ranting on and on. And I've got a surprise announcement later at the end of the session.
Wow. Okay, you're going to give us money, right? Oops.
Please give us money.
Too much to ask.
No,
Okay.
he's getting married again.
Oh my. Oh my. Okay. So yeah, for your information, Samad is actually a producer and post-production specialist at Monsoon Pictures and KL Post. And he has been working with at least 100 feature-length projects, ranging from big-budget blockbusters like Sankar to small award-winning indies like Jagat. So, and for your information, KICKFLIP is one of his film that he produced. Hi, Samad.
Hey, hi everyone.
So I hope I already introduced you nicely.
Yep, you pretty much got that right. I've been kind of like producing controversial stuff. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be announcing 2 controversial films at the end of this session.
I see. Okay, we will charge you for that also later. Okay. Oh yeah. So for that, we had already kind of like introduced everyone. Just that we would like to have the trailer shown. So KKIFF team will be showing 3 trailers for everyone. Then we'll resume our discussion on why makes independent film in Malaysia. See you soon.
好像是2014年3月的手术过后，我就开始写字就看不到了咯。我是有想过要去找回我的专科医生，他是跟我讲遇不到了，你的眼睛是真的是遇不到，不是不要帮你。他讲，
父亲都是这样讲。哎呀，你这样辛苦又看不到，不用做工了，只是吃2碗饭。所以我母亲就跟我讲，2碗饭现在我们2个老的还可以看到你吃那2碗的饭了。等我们那2个老的不在，谁看你吃这2碗饭呢？最怕你饭都没有得吃，又没有朋友，你一定要去参人，要接触，一定要有朋友，最好是有事业。
我星期1是学口琴哦，星期2学唱歌咯，星期4呢是学跳舞咯，星期6才学钢琴，晚上去练习唱歌咯。
他去世的时候，我是伤心啊，现在是痛心啊。我觉得我看不到，我很没有用。我母亲没有在了，没有人可以帮到我，我觉得很辛苦。没有了我母亲啊，我觉得做人也是没有什么意义啊。是说我现在是这样子活下去罢了咯。假如万一是有什么病就算了。收嘢啦，媽，收啦。我遲早都係愛收噶啦，我遲早知。
So, Johan, right? And you can call me Joe.
Why are you applying for this job?
My wife and I, Khadija, she just got pregnant. So what's no filter photography? It was a photography business I started up a while back.
So why are you here?
It didn't work out.
Kalau aku ada dokumen, aku mau jadi cikgu.
Anulah kami sanggup kami bayar. Yang penting anak kami pandai membaca, pandai menulis.
Kalau saya nggak kesel, tolong emakku cari duit kasih buat dia. Yang apa suka emakku belikan saja.
Pendidikan ni adalah penting untuk anak-anak. Tidak kiralah dia warga kah ataupun dia tidak.
Yes, that was it. The 3 trailers for films being shown on KKIFF. So 2 of them, if you notice, was actually the film by Kai, Samad, and also Putri. Their films were KICKFLIP, world premiere in KKIFF this year, and also Aku Mau Sekolah, a film by Putri. Okay, so welcome back. I think we would like to have the screen on. Can I have the screen on? Like, yeah. Why make independent? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So our webinar tonight will be on why make independent films in Malaysia. This question or this topic was actually assigned or given by the organizer. So I have to be creatively going about it. So let's see what we can do about it. I think I would like to throw the first question because before we talk about making it, we maybe want to define it. So what makes an indie film indie? And to make it a little bit more interactive, I would like to actually have some interaction with the audience. Okay, so can if there is any audience in the house, can you all see the screen? Okay, so can have the audience scan on this. Like you can have the QR code. Even the panelists, if you would like to join. Yeah, please feel free to join. You can use your phone, do the QR scanning. Okay, so you can use your phone for QR scanning. You can scan or you can just type wooclap.com/KKIFF to join in this like kind of like interaction section. Okay. At the moment, we don't have anyone in yet. So yeah, panelists, you can just pretend you are in so that you can support me. So it doesn't look like nobody wanted to join. Okay, we have one in the house. You can use your phone to do QR scanning if you would like to. Yeah.
Right, we can talk now a bit.
Oh yeah, true.
Well,
okay.
Well, the question is, what makes an indie film indie? I mean, I suppose it's just one word. I would attach it to the word freedom, flexibility.
Yes, yes.
flexibility, and being, how shall we say it, totally and responsibly creative.
Okay, all right. So if you can look into the screen, I think that the number 4 is actually reflecting what you are trying to say. Exploring daring subject matters with unconventional approach. Is that reflecting what you were trying to say?
That's right, yes.
Okay, thank you, Dato.
If I could just chime in on this, I think like the question is kind of loaded because an independent film doesn't necessarily have to have these 5 points that you put up. That's what we expect an independent film to be. An independent film is, by its very nature, a film that's independently financed. And an example of an indie film you may not think is indie, the first Ninja Turtles movie is an independent film. Die Hard 3 is technically an independent film. But in that same merit, something like Clerks is also an independent film. It's the main thing is the money. And the reason why most, to me, the reason why most people think like, oh, an independent film at these 5 points is simply because for a lot of people who have stories that they want to tell that maybe big studios or gatekeepers don't want to invest in.
True. Okay.
They find the investment themselves.
Yes.
And usually it's because of that you have these 5 points,
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be that.
True. Actually, I just want to make it like a pool for the audience to choose what kind of things that they think very much reflecting what they think. So it doesn't have to be the right answer. No worry. So there is no like the super right answer over here. It's not an exam. So I just want to be interactive with our audience. At the moment, we have 5 audience, or like 83% of the audience have chosen low budget to be one of the elements that define indie film. And we have one choosing exploring daring subject matters, like as you say, maybe the studios or the gatekeepers don't want to make it, or TV station don't want to make it into a film because they don't want to risk their money on that. So with very much like unconventional approach for certain. And there are quite a like equal number of people choosing without major financial investment and limited number of crew. So it's kind of like reflective of what we are trying to say. And due to the same reason, there will be very less known cast, and maybe sometimes the filmmakers are kind of like notorious for that. Oops, I don't know. So it's up to our audience to choose, and there's no right or wrong answer. Just want to be, create the situation of being interactive with our audience. So thank you to the audience who had already submitted your answer. We will come back to the panelists who are already in the house. Okay, so as 2 of you had already mentioned, like Dato' Kamil and also Kai had already mentioned the 2 points. I believe Samad, Putri, and Amanda has something to say about indie film. Any one of you would like to start with?
Yeah, I agree with Dato' on independent film. I don't think it's to do with the budget either. I think it's to do with freedom of, when you're tied to studios, your creativity freedom may not be so free as well. So I think it's freedom to kind of do what you want.
Yeah. Okay. So as for your information, like Amanda has already made at least 3, I think 2 to 3 awards-winning short film.
2,
Yeah.
Just not
okay.
2.
Okay, 2 that went into Venice, Locarno, Singapore International Film Festival. At the moment, she's making Tiger Stripes. Maybe you can also mention why do you think this film can actually be considered as indie film?
Tiger Stripes is at the moment independent because we don't have financial investment. So I do say that as like that nobody has invested monetarily, like, so I don't have the pressure to kind of have a box office to return back. So it's so it's financed like a little bit differently.
I see. Okay, but I believe you had already received some grants, like
yes,
money,
so that is mainly how it's financed in terms of the film. So with soft money, there is kind of less pressure to kind of have a commercial value to the film, and so that's how we're choosing to make the film. together.
I understand. So that is a way to make it, like even though it's kind of like interesting subject, just that you have faced some kind of difficulties to get a grant, but you managed to get some funding from film festival out there.
Not film festivals. So these are government grants, like FINAS grant. So they're grants from all over the world. So there's Singapore, there's Berlin, like a few others, Rotterdam. So these countries actually have soft money to give to certain countries in the world, and Malaysia is one of them. Yeah.
I understand. Okay, thank you, Amanda. How about Putri? I believe that daring subject matters is very close to you. You have been making a lot of documentaries about that kind of, undocumented child, which nobody want to talk about it, So maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the major thing that make me decide to make a film. I think my subject matter definitely sometimes and also I think it's about like my patience on that story that really driven me, like no matter if I don't have any budget and a lot of restriction, but I still gonna make it done at the end of the day, like because for me when I feel the story it's really important to go on the time, I'm just gonna make it. No matter even without budget I can like the patient itself really driven me to just continue and finishing the film lah. Like my latest film, like di sini aku, it's happened within 2 days. Like I already have a script. Like I wrote it like 1.5 years ago, and I was at that location, and that's something happening that sparked again that idea. And then I just called my DP from KL, and I flew in him to the KK, and then the next day we are shooting. And the budget is just like less than 700. Wow. And we finished everything only with like 5 crew or 4 and 5 crew. So like and things happen very fast for that film. Then I decided to send it for BMW shorties and like we got some award from that. And then the film finished, and then now people are start discussing about the film, like about the subject matter and then things like that. So like for me, I never think like budget as a main issue to make a film, because I always believe, like from my first experience making Dream to Fly, I always believe like if you have a story that you feel is very strong, and then the patient will push you to finish it. I mean, it's just a matter of time when you're gonna be able to finish the film. I think that's one issue.
I fully support what you have been saying, because I see your film, like the one that you mentioned, which only made with 700 or 600 ringgit.
Yeah.
And has already been nominated in the BMW Shorties and won Best Jury Awards from Mini Film Festival this year.
Yeah, Mini Film Festival.
Congratulations to you.
Yeah, that's why like I was so happy because in the film, I mean, it's subject matter that not many people wanted to know about, but I mean throughout the film people started to understand. Even when I first time make the Dream to Fly, when I first time screen it in KL, like a lot of people asking, is it really Sabah? Like is this kind of like visual is really exists in Malaysia? And then I was so happy when more people are asking me on that subject matter, and they wanted to know more, and some of them even wanted to help. And and they are helping the community itself. Like the film is really giving the voice to these people. So I think that's why I always I really grateful that I'm staying this line in filmmaking, because it can help.
Kind of like making indie film is also being supported by the community and being blessed by the community.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, that's a good point. Thank you, Putri. So, because Putri had mentioned BMW Shorties, I believe BMW Shorties has actually built this indie film ecosystem itself. Like, as I know, Kai has been actually involved in one of the projects, which he won Best Cinematographer in 2018 or 2017. Did you?
That was for BMW Shorties.
Yes. You were the DP for that, right? Cinematographer.
Wait, I'm getting mixed up with 48 Hour Film Festival. Do you have the name of the film?
Salam.
Salam, yes.
Yes, Salam. Yes.
Because I won for cinematography at KF48, so I was like, wait, which one is he talking about? Salam, yes. Salam 2.0 to be exact, directed by Mian Lee. Yeah, which is also in black and white.
In very low budget as well, right? Did the film?
Oh yeah, low budget. We had, how many days did we shoot? I think 2 days, or it might have been one. It was a pretty tough shoot because we're shooting in that location was a very real junkyard, which looked great. But it's hot. So, and we had I think we had like 2 LEDs and that's about it. And we shot the whole thing with that. Yeah. So yeah. And I've judged for 48 Hour for BMW as well, which was fun because I actually judged the year that what's his name? The short film Guang that became a movie. Yeah, that one. So that it's a very interesting film festival because it's, I think, amongst the short film festivals in Malaysia, it's one of the few that is still running.
Yes.
Some that pop up and then disappear, but thankfully BMW is still there.
Yes, I believe one of
last year.
Oh yes. Manda also, yes.
Yeah, we gave you award, Puchi.
Yeah, but I think I'm sure like you guys, the lot of the film is really an indie project that's done by
It's kind of a platform where it highlights those indie films, and then they were becoming a great filmmakers nowadays. Like Sanjay, for example, he won Biennale Shorties in the earlier days, and then he now make Jagat, for instance, and now writing a script for his next feature-length film. So this is a very interesting platform. But since we are actually working for KKIFF at the moment, maybe we can talk so much about other film festivals.
You brought it up.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that indie film needs a very healthy ecosystem to support. So one of the ecosystem that I'm trying to say is film festival that treasure indie films, such as BMW Shorties, KKIFF, Mini Film Festival, and many others out there. Okay, so I believe Samad has also made a lot of indie films. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the indie films that you have been making.
Yeah, I'm gonna spoil the surprise.
Okay.
Instead of saving it at the end of the session, I'm gonna show you 2 pictures, and these are 2 work in progress posters for my up and coming film. So this one, which will be directed by Kai himself.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
did you make a poster? When did you make it? I didn't approve this. Where did this come from?
I did it like a minute before I came in. So this will be about Malay Nazis, and it's called Dengki. It will be about punks and skinhead. So the second set film that we are finishing up post-production right now, this has been announced, but I thought I might just show you the poster because it will pretty much encapsulate what we are talking about tonight. So this is The Lies I Tell.
Yep.
A film by Bron Palari, and that is a picture of a woman's lips.
Yep.
Looking in a certain context, you get certain ideas.
Okay.
So
maybe Mazri, you can help to project my screen. I mean, yeah, is it the film? Yep. Okay. I believe everyone can see the screen, right? These are the posters for several films made by our panelists, like Ciplak, The Lies I Tell, Lagi Senang Jaga Sekandang Lembu, Dreams to Fly. These are the films made by our panelists. So
when the reason I've showed you those 2 pictures is if you just show those 2 posters to any film producers in Malaysia, they will think twice about wanting to go ahead with this kind of story. It's not something. So Lies I Tell is about female pedophilia, and Dengki is about punks and skinheads, Malay Nazism. So if you talk to any of the mainstream film studios, they will if you come to them, they want something that is in a certain comfort zone.
Yep.
You don't if you can bring new ideas the way that you stories, let's say about volleyball or whatever. but they want the way that you present the story has to be to conform in a certain comfort zone.
Certain standards.
Yeah, we're not trying to do that. I myself try not to do that, and I try to push the boundaries as much as we can, because look, I've heard rumors about Dato' Kamil having doing this thing, but then there is a big question also: how much content and how much indie content can we get into the platform? Let's hope we can get a lot, but if you were really to sit down and think about it and try to get as much spectrum of stories as possible, you'll be very, very limited. And one is the filmmakers themselves. They want to take time getting this properly. Sanjay took how many years to write the script for Jagat, and now we're working on Jagat 2 right now, and we're working on a few things with Sanjay as well. But they will take time wanting to do it. KICKFLIP was written after experiencing 40 years of life. So life, and he wants to present it. It takes time, all these things.
Understand.
Like Donkey is how long did you write it? In 2009, 2008, something
No,
like that?
2000. I wrote it right after making a studio film, which really says something. So around 2000, I think around 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. And I actually, after writing KICKFLIP, I didn't think I'd be making that film, but for some reason, Samad is really, really into the script. So yeah.
Let's do this. I just came off at that time. I just came off of a big blockbuster, two big blockbusters actually. One for a big OTT platform, and I just wanted to do something personal. I just wanted to have a small team. I just wanted to go on set, hang out with my friends. We were laughing on KICKFLIP. I came to work. We were laughing. We shot the film. We wrapped. We were laughing. We went back home. I was looking forward to coming to work the next day. And with big studios, you don't get all these things. There's just so many people. In order for you to do one single goddamn change to the frame, it just takes a long time for anyone to design. It takes a long time for you to reframe the shot and blah blah blah. So it's not something that I completely push out. Filmmaking is about working with every single different person that you can work with, and different films. So I can work with big studios. I can work with indie. They're very vastly different experiences.
Yeah, thank you, Samad, for your point, because I believe what you and Kai trying to say and tell us is you need someone who believes in the story to make it happen. Like Samad himself is a producer and post-production specialist. When he hear the story pitched by or told by, shared by Kai, he believed in the story. Then he invested in that story to make it possible. Right? So that is how it happened. For indie films, most of the time you need someone who believes in your story, someone who can somehow invest the money and risk themselves to invest in the film. Right?
Although if I can interject on that, like this would be, I mean, KICKFLIP is the closest I've worked with the producer from start to finish to release. Because from the beginning, it has kind of been like when you say that someone to believe in the story, 9 times out of 10, that someone who believes in the story is yourself. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully other people believe in it too. But you're probably in that situation when making an indie film because it feels like, okay, no one believes in the story except me. So to hell with everyone else, I'm going to make it. And you kind of get that field of dreams thing of, if I build it, they will come. And hopefully people will come and be like, I'm kind of interested in doing this too. So, because like someone said, like with those 2 stories that he's working on right now, just to pitch it is really tough to get through the door. So if you don't have that other person to believe in your film, you really have to 100% believe that you've got a story worth telling.
True.
Well,
I
this is-
believe a lot of indie films, it was being made because the filmmakers wanted it so much to be made. Otherwise, yeah, it will be like only
Well,
on
that's
the
where-
infancy stage.
Yeah, that's why we need the system. That's why we do need the system that allows these things to happen.
Yep.
The best way for this system to take place is, and as I've been championing for a long time, it's about the tax. It's about tax incentive. It's about the third party who could invest in films, and without connecting it to anything else, other than the fact that this is a right environment to mine talent. You see, this industry is about craft. It's about craftsmanship. So the sooner you get that young boy or young girl to enter into this industry, the better it will be. It's not about going to film school or after watching your Citizen Kane when you are 17 or 18. If that interest is there at 6 years old, start putting them in.
Yep.
No? And how many good filmmakers are we eliminating today by not exposing them to the right environment? So those with money should be able to put in. This is an investment, right? Now, if you look at all the other countries, some of the best breakthrough films came from people who, just a philanthropist, someone who's not even in the film business, but they provide the funds so that young people can come in. Because this is the only industry where at the end of the day is how many films you have made that will make the difference between you being a good filmmaker or a filmmaker that's just about to get a break.
Does that include the Wolf of Wall Street? Oops.
Well, okay. Wolf of Wall Street was made by someone who did make an independent film in his early days. Right. Well, I mean, you asked for Coppola. I mean, before he made The Godfather.
Hey, let me put it this way. Wolf of Wall Street is the one good thing to come out of 1MDB. I'm going to just say it right now. Y'all can blame me if you want. It's the only good thing to come out of that whole damn thing.
Sorry, I want to comment something on Dato's comment.
Yeah.
The reason I said yes to Kai and Kickflip at that time was because, oh, by the way, Kai is not a film graduate. He's an economics graduate.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he has done with his master's degree or bachelor's degree, whatever. I would love to see it one day. So when Kai came to me and said, "Hey, let's do Kickflip," I said yes to him because he did not have training in filmmaking. The reason that is important to me is because a lot of the work that I've been in before prior to that, it has been a very structured way of looking at things, very structured way of visual storytelling. And someone like Kai came in and say, "Hey, I have a completely different vision with this." So that's why I say yes. I say, look, he's something is being born here.
Yeah.
Let's roll with it. Let's try to nurture it. And that's why I say yes to doing it.
So I believe there is a kind of like system that we live in that allow us to have this creative input, and we would like to channel it out in our film. So like Putri, who live in Semporna, who has been exposed to the story, that's why she made it into her documentaries or even her narrative short films. So there was a Sadakan. Sorry. Sadakan. Okay, sorry, because that was in my mind. I wanted to go Semporna very, very much. Okay, because for information, I'm planning to go Sabah sometime end of this month. Oops. Okay, there's a question from YouTube from Joshua. Okay, Joshua Liu was trying to ask, is it easier to make documentary film with passion rather than narrative film that needs more money? So I think this question is very much for Putri, right? So because we have been talking about money, the system that allowed things to happen. So maybe this question can be directed to Putri. Do you think is it easier to make a documentary in that way, and with more passion rather than you need a lot of money for a narrative film?
No, it depends on you. It's really the di sini aku is the 700 budget is like it's a narrative, but I combine it with the documentary approach. I think it's like as a filmmaker itself, like yes, a lot of people agree about budget, but personally, I don't think so because like I said just now, it's if you think your patience very strong, you can know it when nothing stops you from making the film. And you're just thinking like, okay, I wanna do this story. That you start approaching people, maybe asking your friend to help you, and then you start like gather the cast, and then you start looking for the location, even like without spending any of your money on it, like like apply for budget or something that you. I mean, narrative or documentary both also possible as long as you believe on your story and then you have a strong, desire to finish it. So it's not really a documentary because documentary also can like have a big budget, and also can no budget. Same with narrative.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. If you can see the screen at the moment, this is actually a study conducted by Purin, a Southeast Asian study where they studied the independent film being made in 2017. Majority of the independent film made in Southeast Asia were predominantly drama. 62% was actually drama, and 18.8% were actually documentary. So it's very interesting to know, and that in Southeast Asian ecosystem, most of the indie films are in these two types, or even comedies, these three types of genres. So that's why it encapsulates what we are trying to say, because drama, documentary, comedy somehow are being made in lower budget and being easier to be made, and they can explore subject which is near to us. All right, something that is somehow near to us, somehow in reality that we can explore about, such as the documentary made by Putri, and KICKFLIP, I believe, is a drama. So maybe you can talk about this. Is that genre somehow the kind of like shape what kind of an indie film being made in Malaysia?
I mean, personally, to me, that study is interesting because, like, with both those things, like those top two, drama and documentary, right? Just think about just right now, what is a mainstream drama? You know what I mean? Like you think about what is a mainstream TV drama? What usually passes on our screen?
Okay, so maybe some stories about anak dato and anak datin, okay, for instance, okay. But yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, that's what we had on most of our TV stations. But I believe there are dramas like KICKFLIP made by Kai that try to explore things other than that, right?
And the same goes with documentaries as well, because they're both stories that you don't regularly see, you know. Those other genres, you do need, I mean, you don't necessarily need a bigger budget to do a horror or an action film, but it would be very, very helpful. You look at the majority of my indie films, they're just two people talking. You think about the documentaries, because there are stories that haven't been told in our country. And a lot of, like, especially in the past, I'd say 10 years, a lot of things that people didn't realize about in our country are, you know, in the public's mind because of documentaries. You know what I mean? So if, like, those are things that traditionally mainstream media doesn't spend on, because there's the question of whether or not people are actually going to want to see it.
So I have been actually working with another film festival, Freedom Film Fest, since I graduated, and I have been working with them as one of the assistant coordinator for the festival, because they believe in stories that deserve to be told. So you have to be daring enough to tell your stories, such as Putri. So she made her documentary. One of her documentary actually was given the grant by Freedom Film Fest. So that kind of story, when you want to make it, someone has to, you know, trust you to give you the money, such as Freedom Film Fest. When they given her like $9,000 ringgit, is that? What's that?
5,000.
Oh, 5,000. Okay, so with 5,000 ringgit, she has to fly from KL with a crew to Sabah to make the documentary. But it's not enough, right? Is that enough for you? Was that enough for you?
it's still okay. I still can work with that budget. Even if you give me 3,000, 1,000, I still can work with the budget.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but you made that because that story is really matter to you, right?
Yeah, because like even I already have plans for it. When I have a story, I already have planned when I want to do it. So I'm just gonna apply for grant. If I didn't get it, I will still find a way to make the film. Yeah, I think my first experience when I do the Dream to Fly, it's really teach me about looking film, because when I was in university, I've been hearing that you need money, you need like thousands of money to invest on your film. But that experience really teach me, like, I think that patience that really drives you to get what you want, and then you try a way, maybe like find some people help to just finish the film. So yeah.
I believe it happens to Amanda as well, because when you were making your first award-winning short film.
I'm kind of the opposite.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I know Putri, and even if she has no money and no crew, she will go out and shoot herself and do it all herself. I actually need a crew. I also have a bigger budget with my films, with my shorts as well, because I pay people, so I do like pay my crew, and I also understand the whole idea of like having friends help out. That's also really great. But yeah, for me, I need budget. Yeah, because for me, I do like to kind of have the ecosystem where people can live out of making films, crew, directors, and everyone. So I do like to try to have a bigger budget. Yeah.
Yep, I understand.
I wanna add something. Since we're on the subject of documentary, so I was on this project, and I want to give shout out to Saw Tiong Guan, who I know my director, my documentary director, who I know is watching right now.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I helped him on a documentary. It hasn't been released yet. It's called Life in 24 Frames, where it's about the masters of Asian cinema. So we interviewed John Woo, we interviewed Anurag Kashyap, Lav Diaz, and Priti Pan. So you would think that interviewing Mr. Mission Impossible would be a lot of money, but Saw found a way to take the resources that he had, and just get it to get it done. Like when we contacted Anurag Kashyap, he was on the set of Sacred Games. He was shooting Sacred Games. We got an email. Hey, can you be in India in 2 days time? I said, I apologize, we can't be there in 2 days time, but okay, how about next week? I said, fine, next week, let's go there. I didn't get to go, but the entire crew had diarrhea for the next 1 week. But it's we saw somehow got it done with the resources that he had.
Yep. So making a low budget or indie film, you really need to be creative on how you can go about, so that you know what kind of resources you can go to, and then to make it possible. I believe Dato' Kamil has been seeing a lot of phenomena like this or scenario like this. Maybe you can share about that. When you see young filmmakers or even older indie filmmakers, they were facing problem to make their film, and they wanted so much to make their film, and they find alternative to make their film. Maybe you can share about it, Dato' Kamil? Yeah.
Well, if I could just add, really the answer to the younger filmmakers is what we call the development phase. So that's why I've always believed in development funding.
True.
Development funding is only to get the what I call the pre-production off the ground, any stories off the ground, and I've always encouraged get your pre-production or your script or first draft in place first, because that is your tool for looking for investors.
Yep.
Because maybe in Malaysia, I find the problem is because the majority, the majority. I'm not talking about everyone, but majority seems to think that without finance, they can't make films. But the independent films have shown that even without finance, you can still make films. Because it's not no disrespect meant for finance or whatever. It's just that finance is just one of the people who could fund you. But the rest depends very much on your what I call your investment portfolio.
Yeah,
I see the ideation stage. One of its output is an investment portfolio, which even during my time, I wanted to bring it up to people in Hong Kong, Singapore, Philippines, just to get away from the perception that only Malaysia or only the government can finance the movies. So that's number one. But number two, development will also allow you to make slightly off the beaten path films, but without having to get grants that would give you conditions. You see, sometimes if you expect, I mean, I don't blame the way that the public sector grants have been given. Of course, there will be like conditions. I mean, you get our money, and how can you make a film that is negative or against me? But if your script is good enough, and if your development is focused, you could actually get your funds from Sundance, US, there's European Union, and Rotterdam. Yes, you can go to Berlinale and all these places. And I think most of the independent film community understands this. We understand this very much. So for me, it was a bit disappointing that a lot of the funds were going to basically supporting the mainstream. I mean, I'm not against the mainstream, except that I believe that in a very matured industry, the independent community will be the main source of new blood for the mainstream. If you look at all the other countries in the world, in America or matured industries, you find some of their best directors actually had their first entry point as independent filmmakers.
So
that's how it should be.
I agree. So my friend's from Thailand, and he's kind of like for me up and coming Thai filmmakers. And actually, he received his kind of grant from his government, about 20,000 ringgit each year, because he proposed the project and then he got a grant. So it's about 20,000 ringgit. So he made his film, and then he continued to make films through those kind of fundings from government and even those independent film festival out there. Actually, we had one question right away from Mary Michelle on YouTube, and she asked, are there any private funding bodies for indie films other than FINAS? I believe they are. So maybe we can have the panels like Amanda and Dato and also Putri to talk about this, because I believe Amanda has been applying fundings from these bodies. So that would be a good sharing from you three. Yeah, Amanda, please.
I can start. They're not private funding bodies. They're actually state money. So it's government money, it's tax money. And they're all over the world. You just have to do your research. So yes, we have FINAS, which is, it's good that we have FINAS with the grants, but there's also grants in Singapore, in Rotterdam, or it's called Hubert Bals Fund. There's a Swiss one called Vision Sudest. There's even Taiwanese one. I mean, it's most countries have it. Actually, you just have to kind of do your research and see if you're if you fit, if you can eligible to apply for the fund. But of course, some of these funds you require to have. Let's say if you apply for a German fund, you need to have a German producer. Singapore, you need to have a Singaporean producer. And this is where, again, what Dato' Kamil was talking about is your script and your portfolio and your development. And that is to kind of attract these producers. And with those producers, you collaborate and, get from the countries that they're from, basically. But I also agree that development is super important, because that is when you can really, prove to people and show them that this film is worth making.
So when you have a good idea, that will be the priority to make it possible, developing well. And there are actually a lot of grants out there or like workshop out there help us to develop our stories.
Yes,
so
workshops. Yeah, it's not. I think unfortunately we don't have the development grant anymore here.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are workshops and like some scholarships to apply for as well. So
True. Like for example, Indonesia is actually well known for a lot of good workshop. Like for example, Asia Doc. Asia Doc is actually a workshop or Docs by the Sea for documentary filmmakers. If you are developing your documentaries, even post production and story wise, they will have workshop for you, and they will fly you in during not COVID-19 time. They fly you in, and then they will have you undergo 1 to 2 weeks time of training, and they will develop the script together with you until a stage that you are confident enough to pitch your idea to co-production out there, like studios or even producers out there. I think we are lacking that kind of workshop.
Right. And this is the problem. I believe, and I know a lot of people may not agree, but we can agree to disagree upfront. The problem with Malaysia sometimes I find is that while there are a lot of creative people out there, there are not very many able producers. Because it is the producer's job to go and assemble the funds. I would say. I mean, I would go one step further. We should, to assemble the funds. I mean, Amanda mentioned there are funds all over the world. Let me give you the few people that I know who are actually going around the world looking for funds.
Nandita?
Yes, I mean Sharon. For example, they go around the world. They assemble funds. And what's the big surprise there? Marlena, Murderer in 4X was even funded partly by Astro Shaw here. And how many films do we see where it's even that what was it, the Singaporean film The Apprentice? I mean, there was money in it as well. So it means generally, like I think Amanda and I think Putri and a lot of others say, the money is everywhere. It's just a matter of getting the right producer. And right now the producer here, majority seems to think that it's only grants. They forget that there's such a thing as pre-sales or distribution, or you get CNC or France to agree to give you upfront because they'll be the first to bring in you or something. In many ways. So we have been focusing so much on the art of film. I mean, we've been putting too much burden on the people who are making the films. But we have not been nurturing the people, the businessmen, who are supposed to service this industry. Very good example is Upin and Ipin. Everybody says Upin and Ipin is a good example of where the producer or the man behind it is not even a creative man. He's just a businessman. But you allow the creative side to come up. But that's how it goes. Do you think half of the producers in the US people who could make films? I mean, they're just there because they see it as a business. The minute when they see it as a stable business, then they would be coming in naturally. Here, this industry is not accepted as an industry yet. It's not even accepted as an economic sector yet. And that's what we've been trying to propagate. Once you see it as an economic sector, then the other things will come into place. The investment, the tax incentives, the marketing, the distribution. So, well, that's just my personal view. I can say all this now because I'm a pensioner.
I actually agree with what you say. And there are so many co-productions opportunity out there, as mentioned by Amanda. As long as you have good story and you know how to go and where to go to approach people, and you to them, very likely they will be coming on board and they might invest in your project.
Correct. Like half of Putri's films, for instance, the one that touches on social issues. I mean, the money could come from where? United Nations? UNDP. There are many places. Like I said, it's not about going to someone who could provide you the funds just because they are involved in films. Just like you go to the state of Sabah or Sarawak, you could go to tourism. Because they could fund, because it's partly what we call the opportunity cost. So it is wrong to think that if you want to make films, it's only coming in from a body that is involved with films.
Yes.
It could be everything. It's charity, right? I mean, Putri, maybe you can,
But I want to share something. Maybe like it's not, sometimes the funding is not really come from form of money, but
Mhm.
it also can
Correct.
be like in a sponsorship way. For
Yeah.
example, like when I shoot my House Without a Ground, so I received 9,000 grant from Pesta Film Kita. But I got a lot of sponsorship on that film. Like for example, I approached my friend in Sandakan, so I
Oops, sorry.
Oh no.
I think she's
maybe.
I'm bringing 4 crew member and I have some crew in Sandakan, but my friend Anton sponsor like a hotel like accommodations for my team, and like my CK, my producer for di sini aku, he connected me to this YB in Sandakan, and that YB sponsor me a crocodile, like a real crocodile. So he approached the crocodile farm to let me bring the crocodile to my set. So in a way, like I don't have to use money, and then I approached the immigration to sponsor me the lorry for my film, and and one of the YB also sponsored me transportation, like provide a van for my crew. And I approached my
Did they know your story?
I approached my KK mentor in Fly and AFA, Steve in Korea, so to sponsor my film, to edit for my film, and also the sound design for All Boy. The composer for film All Boy to sponsor my music for my film. So that kind of thing also can be a way for you to, get a fund or get some help to
Yes, I love what you just shared. I love what you just shared. In a very short words, is you have to be smart enough to know who to approach in order for you to get the grant.
That's why I think the most important thing in filmmaking throughout this year that I learned is like the connection that you make. I mean, the networking that you make with people. Like for example, like someone in Malaysia, I can work all the way with friend in Korea to just edit our film. Like, and I even like collaborate with my Aku Mau Sekolah DP is coming from Singapore. So this kind of networking that you make also it's in a way can bring fun or to help support your film. So it's all about like planning and how you approach people, and then the only thing that because I was inspired from my mentor Steve, and I was in Singapore International Film Festival, so he told me like like when you're asking help from someone else, the only thing that you get is yes or no. So it's nothing need to be worried to asking for people. Like, if they want to help, they will help. And in a way, like I save a lot of budget on making that film. And like I was very satisfied with all the collaboration that we made, and then now it's not only become a Malaysia film, but now the film have a wider
exposure
and audience because of it's a collaboration between a few countries. So definitely the film can be screened in that country that also collaborate in making it.
Nice. That is a great idea from Putri. I believe like Samad and Kai is also because of networking. You know both each other's. Then Kai approached you to tell you his story, right? Kind of things like that happened. So then Samad kind of like, okay, I love your idea. I want to make it. I want to invest in your film or want to produce your film. Is that the thing that happened, or how?
Samad, you want to take this, or should I?
Sure, I'll take it first. So I was when we started KICKFLIP, I was so intimidated by Kai because I feel like I'm not worthy to be a producer to Kai, because I completely adore Chipla, I completely adore relationship status, I completely adore Chua. So he when I was kind of afraid, but I would not say that it is about connection. Also, how I approach funding for my films, the non-mainstream ones, Finas is the last thing on my mind. I mean, if I apply for Finas and I get it, that's like winning the lottery. It's easier for me. It's easier for me to go out there and get private funding than to deal with Finas and try to get Finas funding. So I pretty much a lot of my films, a lot of my indie films were self-funded, independent funded. I don't think any of it received Finas funding. So just to give you a few examples. So Daulat, completely funded by the director himself, because no one will ever do a political thriller in Malaysia. No one. That's suicide. But he came out with his own money, paid it himself. Same thing with KICKFLIP. Lies I Tell is being funded by like 3 different people who had too much money, and a couple of other things. So that's my approach to how getting films funded and started.
Understand. Yeah, how about you?
Look, I'm just gonna be transparent as hell because I don't give an F. Okay, so for KICKFLIP, yeah, that was funded ourselves. We had a budget of less than 30K. And the way we went about that, because at the point in our lives that we were like, okay, this amount can be raised. And I basically stole an idea I saw from James Lee when he was doing KL24 Zombie.
Yep.
So everyone gets paid the same amount per day. Whether you're the DP, you're the grip, you're the gaffer, you're the lead, you're an extra. Well, if you're an extra, if you're only working like 2 hours, that's you'll get half of the regular daily rate. And that's how we go about it. It's all edited in this very room that you see here. That's my preview monitor right there. The equipment was, we basically just approached Fuji and said, hey, can we shoot with your cameras? And that's one of the things that I think Putri brought up, which is great. And it's something that I've always tried to tell people as well. Because a lot of people ask, like, how do you get sponsors? How do you get this? How do you get actors that are known to be in like your tiny film? And my answer is always the same: ask. That being said, the reason, like, when it came to something like KICKFLIP or all my other indie films, one people that I never seem to ask is these places that you guys mentioned, like Finas and all these other places that can fund films, simply because when I'm making an independent film, like these low budget indie films, to me, the most important aspect of it is control and to be able to tell the exact story that I want to tell. Now, even with these other bodies, which which may be interested in your story, like, to me, the main thing is that I don't want to be beholden to anyone. Right? It's very different. Sorry?
You have total creative control over these funds. When you get them, actually, you do,
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you should try.
Maybe Amanda can say that too.
Important thing if you're making an indie film, because I totally don't see the point of making an indie film, but always having that thought in the back of your head. Ooh, but I gotta make sure that this is it. I gotta make sure that is it. So even with sponsors, like Fuji, like I was talking about, look, let me put the logo somewhere. Let me help you guys out. They're like, no, just take the camera. And that is stuff that, like sometimes you ask people and they just, if they're into it, they're into it. Great. If they're not, it's fine. There's no need to take an insult from that, like, oh, you don't want to make my movie? Like, who the hell are you? If they don't want to make your movie, it's fine. But just ask, So whatever you're comfortable with, just ask. And 9 times out of 10, you'd be surprised who says yes.
Yes, definitely.
Sorry, I wanna add to something to that. So on KICKFLIP, this is what asking, just a simple gesture of asking God for KICKFLIP. So the production, the cinematographer for KICKFLIP is the cinematographer of Police Evo 2. You know how big budget that film is? Our production designer is the production designer of White Raja. So, and some of these guys, Kai said that we paid flat rate to these guys, and some of these guys gave back the money to us. So a simple gesture of asking is it goes a long way.
To speak about that DP, because it's Tech Z, I want to give a shout out to Tech Z for helping us with the film, and also Sashma and Ven for also being the DPs when Tech Z couldn't, because he was literally shooting Police Evo 2. The same time we're shooting KICKFLIP. So Yeah, I know one of the regrets he has with that movie is that he never got to shoot the actual skating. So Texi shot all the dramatic stuff, and then, he still called me from set like, "You sure you don't have another skating scene? I want to shoot one skating scene." He never got a chance to. And I asked him like, "Do you want me to help? You want to use any of my equipment to rig up the camera and all this stuff?" And no, he literally shot the movie just like that, with a tripod, the camera, his lenses, and 2 LED panels and 1 aperture light storm.
Yeah,
And
I saw like 2-3 names as DP because it's not only Texi, right? In your film.
Texi created the overall look, and then Sashma and Ven were the guys that were shooting when he was called back to the Police Evo 2 set. So,
I see.
And he was still shooting Police Evo 2 when we were editing the movie. That was a very long shoot for him. So I'm really grateful that he took the time to just come down and shoot this little black and white film with us. So,
So it's great to see this vibrant industry where filmmakers are actually going from mainstream to indie to mainstream. They are actually kind of like political frogs. They can jump here and there. Oops. Okay, but what I'm trying to say here, I'm not trying to label them as that, but that's how vibrant our industry is. Because a lot of filmmakers are actually working on commercials. Sometimes they make mainstream film, and sometimes they also jump into indie film, doing films or story that they really wanted to tell. I believe that is how Putri has been doing, and also Kai has been doing as well, and even Samad. So like you have been producing a lot of mainstream blockbuster film, and at the same time you also do film that you believe in, you want to invest in, and you want to put your time and money in, right? So that is how vibrant our industry is. I'm very happy to see these kind of things.
Yeah, I agree. Because as like for me, I work both in commercials and also the indie project. So because I established my own company and I got like one project, like 3 to 4 projects per year. And then like for all the crew that work under me for free for my patient work, I think I can pay them like in a good rate when they are working with me in commercial. And I definitely use them for my commercial work because it's a way for me to say the gratitude, like, So like for friends that also help me for my films, like in a way I try to, like when I'm doing my commercial, I'll try to bring them in. So because for that project I can pay them. Like it's not like I just asking them for free all the time. So I think that's how also Yasmin Ahmad do, like, like you have friend work for you, but when you have a good project that have a budget, you still pay them, like, So and also one thing that I want to highlight, like when we are working on the indie project, like you don't have budget, but somehow a lot of things you always get better. I mean, like for example, like in terms of doesn't have lighting. So when I shooting my short film back in KK and some Sandakan, because the landscape is already beautiful, so my DP managed to do things that even with the lighting you won't get it. It's just a natural thing that came out, like because you're shooting on the right time, and and my DP is someone who always believes, like, technical support can really help you get a good visual, but after working with my project, he believes that you not always need to depend on big lighting, big camera. Sometimes like a basic camera also you can get some things very powerful and very cinematic. And that's the best part about indie filmmaking is like sometimes restriction can push your creativity into the max because you try to find a way to create your visual without a budget. So it's something that I learned throughout this experience, like working in commercials. Also, like as a director and producer, I know how to cut my budget, and I know if I have visual, okay, I need a budget on it, but might be another way without using money, because it's really push your creativity to the max, and also you are experimental new things. Maybe that new system can really, you can share it to other people and people can use it for their film.
I think Amanda also in that kind of I mean, because you say if your film, you were to make a film, you will need bigger budget, and because you want to pay people well. So That's why you have
I
been
don't
working
have
so hard.
commercial work. That's why I don't have anything to offer. But no, I mean, like, especially because I'm, kind of working to my first feature now. It is the budget is bigger than you would expect an indie film to be. Also, the shooting days are very long. But for me, it's I do like to pay people a fee because I don't have extra jobs to give them, I guess, after this. And also for me, it's quite important to have that ecosystem. Like I can't always ask for favors for all my films. Eventually, I do want, even if it's independent films, to have an ecosystem where people are getting paid, for their work. So I don't know. That's something that I'd like to try and do. I don't know if it will work. But yeah, that's my aim. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We have a question out of this because at the moment we have been talking about making it. So how about when it comes to post-production and we are about to screen it? Okay. There's a question from Nicole Agustin from YouTube. Actually, Nico has been asking, okay, after completing an indie film, what are the process of getting it out to Malaysian theatre? Or maybe I can expand the question to even to Netflix or international screen. What do we do? Do you? I believe some of you had that experience. Like Putri went through the film festival system. Yeah, like Amanda through the film festival system as well. And how about Samad and Kai or even Dato? Or what do you think? Is there any way that you can actually make it appear in Malaysian theatre? I believe
before what do you call it? Because I'll be honest as well, I really need to go to the toilet. So I'm just going to answer this real quick so then the others can answer and I can quickly come back and hopefully you don't hear a flush. Okay, like for every single movie, it has felt like, because the landscape keeps changing, right? So like with Chipla, that was still very much a time of cinema. Everything was still shot on film. I think at that time only Pontianak Harum Sundal Malam was the only one shot on digital at the time. So the idea was you have to be in a cinema. At the time, it was only GSC International screens that showed indie films. But it was also because I was someone who also came out of the indie music scene in the 2000s. So there's a very punk rock attitude about it as well. Like our first press screening was in Paul's Place at Old Klang Road, which if anyone who's into the music scene knows used to be a cool venue. And we would tour it into like these small venues as well because we didn't just have it in the cinema. When it came to relationship status, it was cinemas again, but things had started to become more, digital screens started coming in. There was an easier process to do it. But again, it's approaching cinemas. And same goes with Chua. Like right now seems to be a very different landscape because cinema is not the only thing. And it's actually, that's what we're discovering with KICKFLIP. Because we need to change our approach. Like we're used to the old approach, and especially with the pandemic, things are very, very different. Like right now, if the pandemic wasn't happening, we'd all be sitting next to each other and smiling. So, now we're on a screen smiling. But yeah, so right now it almost seems like there's so many ways to get your film out there that you're not quite sure which one to pick. And of course, everyone's like, I want to be on Netflix. I want to be on Netflix.
Or iFlix.
Or iFlix. Or, there's Astro First. There's so many like different things. Hell, put it on YouTube. And it becomes a very tricky landscape to figure out. And that's where I defer to my producer. With also a few opinions of my own and some research of my own. But for the most part, I'm turning to Samad like, what do you do?
Okay.
And, I'll let Samad continue that whilst I go and release myself.
Please. Okay, no worries. Actually, just now we had mentioned about film festival. I believe film festival is one of the best platform for indie filmmakers, but the tips is you need to study the background of the film festival because not all film festival will like your film because they maybe target or niche area on certain kind of film. So you need to study the background, then only you send your film to them. Or somehow you need to have a very good network with the programmers. So if they know you and they love your film, very likely they are going to show your film and screen your film to be programmed under one of their program to be screened in the film festival. I think Dato Kamil has this kind of experience working with this kind of even programmers or filmmakers about this. Maybe Dato can talk about this?
Well, you're absolutely right. It depends. You send your material to the right festival, and again, there are certain rules to be followed. But at the same time, I believe that someone can actually start selling or marketing their film even before it's completed. And I think that's one of the characteristics which is more prominent amongst the independent community, but not for the mainstream. I mean, and I can say this with experience because that's why we have been supporting the independent scene to do the some of the learning points from there. Other countries, the mainstream and the independent scene would be grounds for a lot of synergy, a lot of exchange. But in Malaysia, those two exist as two separate bubbles. And you know what I'm trying to say. The independent scene is one bubble, the mainstream scene is another bubble. And they are both being, how shall we say it? They are both being operated or being driven by different engines.
Even
by
though they
different
are
engines.
They are same people sometimes.
Yes, although they are at the same time. I mean, like I was telling earlier, the difference between funding and financing is also very important. The mainstream here thinks that funding support is actually financing. But the independent community has realized that there is such a thing as development support, funding support, and financing. Because these are two different things, right? So, well, that's one point. But of course, the other point, I go back to the earlier point about you can start selling your film or your idea even before. And this is where the importance of going to film markets and all that, and the importance of having a real developed idea. Don't go on a half-baked basis. I mean, we always mention that part of the Malaysian issue is that you can pitch your ideas very well to the local entities, but the minute when you have to go to Singapore and present it to the Singaporean entity, you have problems. So that's why, because we are so used to going to RTM, going to FINAS.
Jago Kampung, Jago Kampung.
Well, okay, I didn't say that, you did, but although I believe that Jago Kampung is the first step, but even the Jago Kampung must realize that the whole world is a kampung now, especially in a borderless environment, in our social, in our network environment today, the whole world is the kampung. So it's okay. Jadi juara kampung sedunia. It is no longer about domestic, and make stories that can be appreciated by people outside Malaysia. And this is where the indie seems to have got the priorities quite fixed and quite right. Because the independent community makes movies which, although it takes place here, but somebody in Scandinavia will have to understand it. But the mainstream still has that problem. It's always about box office locally. I mean, I'm talking about general, it's always about domestic box office. So those are some of the challenges. And of course, the other thing also is about mining talent. The independent community, I believe so, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. When you appear in the international festival, the idea is also to network and to let the other film communities around the world know you. So that you may be invited later to be a co-director, or your script might be accepted for, I mean, see what happened with Thailand. I mean, you make a film called, what was it? The one that Nicolas Cage, finally there was a remake in Hollywood.
Bangkok Dangerous?
Sorry?
Bangkok Dangerous?
Bangkok Dangerous, right? And then there was a film, or even the case of The Ring from Japan. There's a remake. I think that's what the independent community understands the best. That the world is right now without borders.
True.
Without boundaries. And it's not about Jago Kampung. Jago Kampung is satu dunia. To use a northern expression, satu dunia dah jadi kampung.
Yep.
Yes.
I love your points, Dato'. Yeah, because one of the point or takeaway from your side was actually you have to have a very edgy things, because something that really matter to you, and at the same time edgy to the world. So Amanda, for example, and Putri, for example, both of them have been making kind of like edgy stories. Like Amanda has been making about female bodies, like female subject matters that travels to a lot of places, and that this film festival or this outside financing bodies believe in those stories and made it possible.
Right. Yes, and so are new films like even KICKFLIP. If you look at the soundtrack, I know immediately. Yeah, I mean, I know immediately that it is intended to be a universal story, because this is what the song of youth. I think Kai boleh bagi tahu, like, it's a bit of the teenage angst. They call it, punk or whatever. And then at the same time, the new film by Braun, The Lies That I Tell. From the little that I know, I mean, it's meant for the world. And this is the direction where to go. Vinegar Bath, stories about sekolah, children not able to go to school. I mean, that also applies in Colombia, in Venezuela, in other parts of the world. So that's what I meant. It's about that. And co-production is the other best way to go, because immediately you would have two markets. Enough of this Malaysia domestic. Yeah, I mean, if you are really a king here, you're also ready by right to be a king or queen outside your country. So that's the push. That's a push. Kai, betul lah? Your soundtrack?
Yeah, betul.
All right.
And The Lies I Tell, sama dia? I mean, where on earth can you get a title like Vinegar Bath for the Malaysian mainstream film? Vinegar, don't get the chuka. Why not soy sauce bath?
Oh my God.
I mean, that's the way to go. All these new areas, right? And the mainstream will think twice. But it's okay. I mean, this is just a starting point.
Yes, Amanda, you have something to say.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
No, your next film would have something to do with soy sauce, right?
Oh my
God. Add on more also, like.
And then Putri, I mean, the next one could be sekolah orang dewasa pula, the adult classes. Because Piramli did it in Seniman Bujang Lapuk, where buta huruf, all the buta huruf went to that school, right?
Yeah. Gavin Yap is having one drama for TV3, I think. It's about those like
good.
I was the DP and editor for that. That's coming out tomorrow night.
Good. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of story.
Interesting story.
Yes.
Interesting story for me.
And then Al Jafri did that day. Yep, sorry.
Just want to add on more, like what Dato' say about the film festivals. Like yes, the producer really played a role for your film distributions, because I see a lot of because I'm more on short film because I haven't done any feature yet. But when I see all the young filmmaker that started to make film, most of them, they don't really think about distributions. They just think like, okay, I want to make film, but they don't really have any plain way to to show the film. At the end of the day, like, you just make film, but you don't have anyone to
you need an audience.
Yeah, and then and a lot of them, they after only finish film, then they want to start.
Correct.
Okay, where should we put our film? But I do believe that from the very early stage, like even in pre-pro, you already start to think and planning not only until your post, but until the end, like where you want to screen your film, and you like have a 1 year planning or 2 year planning. After like going through a festival circuit, then you want to go to OTT, and then after that you might be put it online, public. And it's really important to plan your distribution earlier. And then like going all the film festival, I think this is Amanda a lot of experience. You have a lot of experience in this. Like you're actually putting your name, your film before it's came out. And like you let people, like especially the world audience, to know that you are working on this film. So please plan for it. So when right, when you out, definitely the same festival that you get fund from, they will call your maybe world premiere film. So when you world premiere film, definitely you're putting your name on the world stage, and the Malaysia, you will get a spotlight in Malaysia. Oh, you see this Malaysia They went all the way to like Locarno and the film like Dine Film. They will screen in Locarno, world premiere, and everyone talk about it. And people start to like going to the cinema because they want to watch this like a world cinema film like. So this is one way to marketing your film. It's not only like putting on YouTube and then waiting for the view or sharing with friends. There's a lot more way, but you just have to explore and make your and also make a proper planning for your distribution, not only like with finding money and then make a film and something like that. Because by putting your name on the festival, like for example, if, even like you apply for the grant, but you didn't get the grant, but the festival know that you made the film, and then you were been there on the project market, or you apply for the development process. You manage to go in, and then after your film finish, they want to premiere your film in the festival because they know the film. So it's a very good way to distribute your film. And maybe by going to that festival, you meet other producer that with,
networking.
Networking, and then producer that go with how to market the film, and they know a big production that maybe can help sell your film after it finish. So there's a lot of way that actually through the festival circuit, for example.
Outside is a big world.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Y'all want to hear a little interesting anecdote though related to that, which I heard a couple of weeks back. I won't name names because I just shouldn't. But I heard something very, very interesting with our local cinema. What do you call it? So let's say if a film has done the festival rounds and it has on the poster the little, like I like to call them the bunga.
Laura.
The Laura. I've heard. I can't say. I will not say whether it's true or not. This is what I've heard. But I've heard that local cinema chains Photoshop that out.
That's not something I know
people. You heard about that too, right? So it's not just me, because when I heard that, because like back in the day, it was like, oh, you must have the bunga away. You got the bunga, then people come, they think it's important. And now it's like, don't put the bunga on. People think it's too important.
No, they don't like the bunga.
Malaysia, maybe Malaysia.
For Malaysian cinemas, like they're gonna put it in the cinema. Like, no, if it's not the Oscars, we're not putting the bunga on. You know?
Yeah, they should make a film about that. Yeah.
lovely idea. So Samad can produce that, and Kai can be the director.
That's right, and we have two lovely actresses here.
It'll be called Dimanakah Bungaku.
So, and I and Chong Li can have a cameo role.
Oh yeah. without entertainment, it's fine. All right. Okay, I think we are almost come to the end, and although we have so much to talk about, and we are so excited to talk about so many things, but the organizer has already prompted me to kind of like wrap, kind of like over time. But okay. So maybe just quickly to wrap it up. So at the moment we are seeing, or we are actually talking about why make independent film in Malaysia, and maybe I can just summarize it in a very short. Like most of the time, these filmmakers are trying to tell story close to their heart, something that they really wanted to tell, but because mainstream outlets wouldn't want to tell that kind of story, and they didn't dare to tell that kind of story, so indie filmmakers make that kind of story because there is something that close to their heart and express their creative freedom, and they explore the freedom very much, and they enjoy the freedom very much to tell that kind of stories. And also to highlight some marginalized voices, be it LGBT or undocumented children's or female subject matters, or all these kind of interesting stories. And so that was what we have been talking about, and we have been expanding it to even distributions, film festivals, and we have been also talking about pitching your ideas to film festivals so that you can get funding, and networking, the importance of networking and workshop to brush up your story so that you can have good development of your story before you can sell it, and later on bring it on to other platforms. So we have been talking a lot tonight, and I'm very thankful to have all the panelists. Maybe I can have the panelists to say a few words before we close. Yes, maybe Samad, you would like to say something?
Yeah. Okay, so I write about Malaysian cinema. Yeah, I have a column in a Japanese magazine, Wow magazine. So I every 3 months I have to write about a good Malaysian film, and to answer the question why make independent films, every single time that my editor calls me up and say, hey, you need to write about another film, man, I draw blank about the films that I need to write because there's such a limited pool amount of films worth talking in Malaysia, and most of the time I write about indie films. 99% of the time, 1% is mainstream. So we need to have a pool, a spectrum of various stories that explores very very different stories. Not all the same. We need to do that because it's just great for culture. It's great for development of our country, and it will change the mentality in a certain way. And just to be very optimistic, I'm very optimistic about the future of independent films, because I can't go into details, but there are a couple of platforms that are opening up in Malaysia, and they will want content. So it's not just going to the big media and getting screwed by them. But they hold the rights for like 5 7 years, and you don't see any money. So one platform that you might want to look into is ewayang.com. It's pretty brand new, but it's giving options. It's for you to be able to monetize immediately the sale of your film. So like ewayang is 50-50 shares. Pay per view. So immediately you get paid at the beginning of every month, and you see the money immediately. So just hang in there, just continue making your films. Platforms are opening up. There will be way much more options for you to be able to monetize in the long term, for you to be able to retire, for you to be able to have to pay the bills, put food on the table.
Wow.
The thing is, you need to keep making different films. You cannot we cannot make the same love story. You cannot make the same police story. We need spectrum.
Hantu story.
Hantu story. We need a you want to make a hantu story, go ahead, but make different hantus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just make Pontiana. It's been made to
Understand.
make different story. So
Okay, that's a key takeaway from Samad. Make different stories that can attract people to watch it.
Oh, make different
Yeah,
hantu
make something
stories.
unique lah.
Yeah. Thank you, Samad. All right. So how about you, Kai? Do you have any final words?
If you want to make an independent film, make an independent film. Don't say one day I'd want to make an independent film. If you want to make an independent film, do it. It's independent. Grab what you can and just do it. Go punk rock about it. You don't have an ARRI camera? Fine. Use a DSLR. You don't have a DSLR? Fine. Use an iPhone. You don't have an iPhone? Fine. Use your webcam.
Anything.
Capture an image and tell the story that you want to tell. Just do it. Otherwise, you're just talking cock.
We just had a very good ad to summarize what we are going to talk about. Okay, thank you, Kai. So, maybe I can pass it to Dato' Kamil, and then before we go to the last two ladies. Yes, Dato' Kamil, please.
Okay, just very short here. We have to start thinking about our audience being the whole world. It's not just about Malaysia anymore. So, like I said, Jago Kampung is also Jago Dunia. So the whole world is a village. So that's it. I mean, that's what sells.
Yep. Thank you, Dato'. Okay, Putri, and before that, and lastly, Amanda. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to support what Kari said. Like if you want to make a film, just make it. Like even if like everyone in that room say that it's impossible,
they don't believe in it.
But as long as yourself believe on it, just do it. Like maybe it's just a matter of time, but at the end of the day, when you see the final product, nothing gonna stop you. Like even though like you're gonna face a lot of problems, sometimes that problem can turn into something that's very beautiful towards the end. You never know like what your film's gonna end like, you know, after back to back like. But if you stop, you don't have anything. A very quick sharing, like when I make my Rumah Nak Bertanah, I was in a car accident. My car is total.
Oh yeah.
Like I lost my main cast on the day of shooting. But at the end of the day, I didn't stop. And when I see the final product, the most valuable thing is like the experience with the people who stay with you, and the film, the finished product. That is the most valuable thing. And then you realize there's still a people that believe on your story because of your patience.
There's always a blessing for doing things that you believe in.
Yeah.
So
and then
beautiful
within that
story.
problem, you finish it. Yeah. Within that problem that you face, at the end of the day, you finish and you have a film.
Thank you, Putri, for this inspirational sharing. How about you, Manda? Any last word from you?
Yeah. So for me, why I make independent films? Because then you can truly have 100% your voice. You can truly be yourself. Your film can 100% truly be yours. Even legally, like the rights and everything can be yours. And that gives you all the control, you know, with even practical things such as distribution, even the festivals you go to. And, you know, maybe you want a sequel or whatever. But that to me is why independent films are important, because you have that control. So, and also, yes, the audience is the world. It's not just Malaysia. The whole world as your international audience. So,
globally. Thank you. Beautiful.
Right. Before we end, just want to ask, because someone brought it up in the comments. Someone said, didn't Dato want to announce something about a platform?
Oh yeah, we actually mentioned about it earlier on.
Oh, when I was in the toilet? Damn it.
No. Earlier on, I think a platform for OTT platform for independent film.
Yes, I mean, I'm not going to do the plug now, but we will announce it. But really, it's part of our program to provide a platform for independent filmmakers. It's going to be under a section called Play. But I mean, we'll announce it as we go along.
Okay. So please, I believe you will be working with a lot of film festivals in Malaysia and outside of Malaysia. So please consider to work out with KKIFF, Mini Film Festival, BMW Shorties, and many others. Okay, just to say a final shout out to all the audience out there, like Ad Samad, we have Joshua, Adwas, Diana Sulaiman, Zubisi, Chloe Tiffany, Mary, Abdul Munel, Jerry Kennedy, many of you, Peter Sylvester, Zam Zulkifli, Jackie Yap, and Azmi, C. Nomin. Wow, I'm trying to read everyone's here. So thank you very much for dropping by, coming in and listen to us, and even participate in the discussion and throwing your question. So let's go to the final slides so that we can wrap it up. Okay, so for your information, if you are interested to watch great films, please register on www.kkiff.com, and you will be able to watch 10 feature films, 10 short films, and from 12 countries. And at the same time, you will be also to watch all the webinars for free on Facebook Live, or even on the StreamYards and things like that. So thank you very much for all the panels. I'm very honored to be, the moderator talking to 5 of you, and it's very inspirational to talk to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good night,
everyone.
See ya.
Yeah, I need a cigarette now.